This is the basketball show. What they gonna say next?
Hello and welcome to the Basketball Show. Joe Healy alongside Shane Hill. We are proudly brought to you by TCL Mobile and Chemist Warehouse, along with our fabulous broadcast partners Kayo and News Corp. Hammer, great to be with you today.
Yeah, how many great games have we got to talk about, and so many to come up in the next week as well.
We certainly do. We're going to start with in the news though, because Townsville's Lauren Nicholson has been sent to the tribunal, but it seems that it was a little bit soft.
I reckon it was really soft. You know, a bit of a surprise too. Not sure how that was instigated, whether it was something that Canberra brought forward or not, but disappointing really, because I thought it was two players that sort of got hooked. They were both going for the ball, and that's just what happens in games. Different times, you don't want to see anyone injured, and Tupaya did hurt her shoulder, so let's hope that she gets back in time. But very surprised that one, it went to the tribunal, and one, she was found guilty and fined $150. Let's have a look at the vision, and you tell me what you think.
That's just two athletes being competitive, isn't it, really?
I think so. And the unfortunate thing is that we see Tupaya like that. That's the disappointing thing. And you've got to ask the question, if she didn't get injured, is that even spoken about by Canberra or from the referees as well?
Be interesting to know what she says too. I feel like as an athlete, if that happened to me, you're generally fairly lenient with these kind of things. You know how you are, you know how competitive you are, and I feel like Talia would probably say the same thing.
And I think the same thing. Let's have a look at Lauren Nicholson. Only last week, also against the Flyers, and you have a look here, just incidental contact. She comes in right there, oh hey, and the knee goes, or the leg goes to the nose. It's a broken nose from Lauren Nicholson, but there was no intent, there was no malice from that. Shannon gets on with it, and so does Lauren Nicholson. And sometimes in this game, things just happen, and it's disappointing to see anyone get injured, but I think it just should be left right at that.
I think you're right. We love seeing how aggressive the girls are out there. It's made for a really good competition. Hammer's hunch this week, we are coming into the final round of the WNBL season. I can't believe that. Just a few games to go before we get to the finals. Let's take a look at the run home for some of these teams, starting with Canberra. They take on Perth and the Flyers. How do you see those games going?
Well, I think they take care of Perth, no doubt about that. And Perth have been playing some pretty good basketball until they lost to Sydney. But the Flyers is the big game. That is a game that could determine where everyone finishes in the top four. Canberra's already beaten the Flyers before. I would like to suggest that the Flyers aren't going to let that happen again. After they lost to Melbourne, they came back and thumped Melbourne again. They will want to be able to get that win, and I see the Flyers finishing on top.
We mentioned the Flyers. They've got Canberra, as you say, but they've also got Sydney. You get the feeling they'll wipe them in that one. Yeah,
they'll take care of Sydney. Don't worry about that. And as we spoke about Canberra, that's going to be a tough game. But the Flyers, they're playing so well with Liz. She's motivated right now. When she's in this frame of mind, she scores so close to the basket. She's got great touch from outside as well. She's blocking shots, and right now she's unstoppable.
Townsville, they've got the Lightning and the Boomers. Some of these games are going to be really crucial, aren't they?
Well, I've got to tell you, some of these commentators have got to start understanding what's going on in the Final Four. They keep talking about Townsville having to compete to try and make the Final Four against Adelaide, but they really haven't spoken about the fact that if Townsville do beat Adelaide and then they beat Canberra in the last game of the season and Canberra lose to the Flyers, Townsville finish second.
All of which is quite plausible.
Yeah, that could happen. Well, Townsville has already beaten Melbourne. We know Melbourne's a good team, and it'll be tough for them to beat them again, but that's exactly where they're at. And everyone keeps talking about the top three and then everybody else. I just don't see it like that. And whilst Townsville probably don't have the same talent as the big three, they've certainly shown they're capable of being able to beat those teams on any particular night.
From the Fire's point of view, they're the only team of that top four currently that haven't beaten the Flyers. Do you think that will be an issue come finals?
I think they would be a long shot to be able to beat the Flyers. I just think they're too big. They're so experienced. I think it's going to be difficult for anyone to beat the Flyers. I said that from the very start. I stand by it. I think they're going to win the championship. And probably of the other top four teams, Townsville's the least likely to beat the Flyers because they're inexperienced and they don't have the same sort of size in my mind.
All right, and finally, Melbourne, they've got Bendigo and Townsville. Presumably, the Townsville game's going to be huge, but they'll get past Bendigo.
They certainly will, and they should get by them with a lot of points. And they've been playing pretty well. They've rested Tess Madge in a couple of games, which has been good for her as well. Maddie Garrick's been good since she came back from, a tough start to probably the season. But Cayla's been the one for me. She has been fantastic. She's playing like a 20-year-old, getting up and down the floor, being able to hit threes. She's really carried that team over the last week in my mind. So she's going to be the big danger for Townsville on Sunday. And if she can carry that form into the finals, watch out.
All right, it is time for our TCL starting five this week. It features the NBA highly. I cannot believe we are 12 days out from the new season. We're going to kick it off. Paul George and Doc Rivers. They've got a little bit of history, you could say.
Just quietly.
Just a little.
Let's not talk about that.
Doc has obviously moved on to Philly, and PG has had some words to say. What's he said?
Well, he came out and said that Doc tried to play him like Ray Allen and JJ Redick, all off pin downs, and he wanted to play off more pick and roll. I was like, cut it out. So we've gone back and we've had a little bit of a look at some of the stats, and he actually played 33% of his possessions last year under Doc was off the pick and roll. The most he's ever played prior to that is 25% at OKC, and even less before that in his career. So, he's a sook. He really is a sook. They were the favourites last year to win. They had all of the positions covered. He went through that many dry patches. I reckon Doc was saying to his assistant coaches, what happened to his jump shot between playing at OKC and now? Because he stunk it up.
That certainly would be a very valid question. Let's bring it back to the WNBL, and I guess you could say the WNBA. Liz Cambage has revealed that she would have retired this year had it not been for COVID. Let's just take a listen to what she had to say.
If everything went according to my plans, I would have been retired, Retiring after Tokyo was my goal and my vision. Doing all this extra basketball work and boxing as well, that really helped me with my frustrations this year. It's made me want to keep pushing and still keep being an athlete, beyond Tokyo next year, even though I am going to be 30.
Hammer, if only I was still 30. Oh my goodness, she's so young.
You look like Mean Girls then. Is that what they do? I've seen my girls do it. Yeah. No, she wasn't going to retire, surely. She's got a lot of basketball left in her.
Well, let's hope so. And at the moment, it's so great to hear that she's still motivated, because she really is, 35 points the other day, just, casually.
Get it done.
4 blocks. But it's great to see her out there doing really, really well and totally dominating the WNBL.
She does look like she's enjoying things a little bit more than normal. Still a little bit of abuse going around, but that's okay. I don't mind that.
She hasn't been ejected yet this season, so your predictions...
There is time.
All right.
She could have been.
We'll see. Let's move on, though. James Harden, a no-show at training, and he's pulling Dennis Rodman-style moves.
Harden up, they said. He was in Vegas. Director Dave was very happy with himself with that headline. Harden up. Well, he's finally turned up to camp, but I'm not a James Harden fan. I'm really not. And... it'd be interesting to see how they go. He's sooked it up. It's a bit of a theme, isn't it? Of the best league in the world, and we're talking about some of these sooks that are going on.
What do you make of a potential move to Philly for him?
Well, I'd rather Ben Simmons than I would James Harden. So it'll be interested to see what happens. But that's what he's obviously leveraging for. He doesn't want to stay at the Rockets. But I certainly wouldn't want him on my team.
Well, speaking of sooks, I suppose, the NBA have brought in a new rule about resting players for specific primetime games, $100,000 fines potentially. I mean, that's pocket money really for them. Do they care?
It is. And a lot of the old school NBA guys would say, what are you talking about loading? What are you talking about resting games? Kawhi Leonard, doesn't want to play back-to-back games. And you look at someone like LeBron James, and there's a lot of LeBron James haters out there. But let me give you a stat. 95% of the games in his career he has played. Set out a tiny proportion, plays big minutes as well, just mentally tough, the recovery and everything else. So if James can get it done at his age, I reckon everyone else can get it done too.
And what about Philly? We mentioned them before. Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid are getting on better, let's say, on and off the court. Take a listen.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, I'm moving in with Joe this month to get close with him and just, learn his game and know him out the court. But no, I mean, we hang out. We at times hang out. Everyone's life is different, but I think we're only going to grow and get better with time. Everyone has their personal things that they do it, same as me. But Joe and I are great. I think over time, our relationship continues to grow, and we keep gelling over time and getting to know each other off the floor also. And that translates to on the floor. And Dwight is completely right about that. So I think this year's going to be great for us.
There's that. Like, come on. He doesn't. Anytime somebody has to keep going over and over to be able to tell a story, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if they don't get on. They don't have to be best friends. You don't get along well with every teammate that you have. What they have to do is find a mutual respect and to be able to make each other better and have the respect for the roles that they play to be able to win basketball games. And so it doesn't matter. No one cares, but he's going to get asked that the whole time. Do you guys get on now?
Feels like he's just delivering the team line, doesn't it?
Certainly did. Long-winded one too.
All right, it is time for In the News, a basketball show exclusive. Townsville have extended the contract of Shannon Seaborn for an additional 2 years. How good is that for the Fire?
Well, it's fantastic, and you take your hat off to Townsville as well to have the foresight to be able to recognise somebody that is so good at their job. When he inherited the team, who wasn't his players, they finished last, and this is the first year he's been able to play the style that he wanted with the players he wanted, and he's been able to get some success. So you would have to think things are going to be pretty bright in Townsville over the next couple of years, and exciting times.
What is so unique about the way that he coaches?
Well, I think he plays a different style, but I think he also gives confidence to his players. He's a real development coach. There's not always, you would expect it, but there's not always a lot of development for players' skills in games, in trainings and developing them to be the players they can. But his system is fantastic. The players love him, the girls love him, and he will find it very easy to recruit to Townsville, I would have thought.
Well, let's have a listen to the man himself alongside a Fire star, Lauren Nicholson.
Obviously, winning a WNBL championship here in Townsville is my first goal. I suppose longer term, I obviously want to be a professional coach for a long time. I feel like I'm very fortunate. I've got the best job in the world. For right now, it's just about really trying to build our culture here at Townsville and establish ourselves as, continuing to be one of the most successful franchises in the WNBL and have success here for a long time. I just try and find ways to relate with every player. I'm very passionate about helping people get better, and I think I have a good way of relating to the girls on and off the court. I think we play a fun style of basketball and we get up and we're quite aggressive, and I think that probably goes a long way to having some success.
I think Shannon, he's a young coach in the league. He understands basketball. He just really gets the game and gets his players. And I think having a good relationship with him on and off the court is a reason why people really like to play for him. And you sort of just get a good vibe and a good feeling. He's super relaxed, and yeah, it's kind of like you really do want to get out there and play for him and get wins for him because yeah, he's just that kind of person that you really want to do that for.
Oh look, we're pushing really hard to be a playoff team this year. We're not making any, not lying about that, not making any excuses. We want to try and win as many games as we can. But obviously, as I said, continue to build a foundation, build a culture. Identify obviously a core group of players that we want to keep here for a long time and build with. And I think we've started to identify and establish that. Culture comes through what we do every day, so we're constantly speaking to the girls about our core values and the things that we think are important to not only winning, but building a consistently successful program across the board. We want to be known as somewhere that players can come to and be developed and become better players and go on to bigger and better things, whether it's in the WNBL or in other leagues across the world. But I think it's about what we do and say every single day that's going to make the difference, and that's what we've been trying to do this season from day one. Yeah, look, I probably overdo it sometimes at home, but I really think that watching film and being able to go back and watch what you've done well and what you need to improve is really powerful. And I think when you can show players those things consistently, it really speeds up that learning process. I guess it's important to have some outlets away from the game, and I've certainly been encouraged to try and do that. I've actually, been in North Queensland, I've actually taken up fishing, so I've been trying to get out. Haven't had any time so far in the season, and I don't think I will, but in the off season sort of went and bought a fishing rod and started trying to go on the weekends, and it's actually been really nice. It's quite relaxing. Not really sure what I'm doing when I actually catch a fish just yet, but it's been a lot of fun, and I've sort of had a few mates around Townsville that have been coming with me, so it's been a nice little outlet. I don't really see myself as being a great coach, to be honest. I think I've got a lot of things to learn, and I'm trying to just be the best coach I can every single day.
Well, thanks to the Fire there for that exclusive in conjunction with the Townsville Bulletin. Fantastic news for them and the club moving forward in the future.
Certainly is.
All right, it is time now for a basketball show exclusive in depth, thanks to Chemist Warehouse. This week, Hammer, it features the Master and the Apprentice. It's the Melbourne Boomers, Ezi Magbegor and Cayla George.
Yeah, being a mentor to Ezi, I'm really blessed to be able to do that. Ezi is a very unique talent, and she's a beautiful woman. Athlete, and I've really enjoyed the last 3 years being able to play with Ezi at the Boomers and the Opals. I've watched her blossom and grow into this incredible athlete that's really coming into her own and making her own mark on the league, so that's really awesome to see, to witness, and to also be a part of her journey.
Cayla's helped me a lot with my game. She was one of the first people that I kind of talked to, like when I first got into the Opals squad, and kind of just was there for any questions that I had, and kind of just led me in the right direction. And I think I first met her when I was at the AIS, and she came in for a talk to our group. And I remember after she left, everyone was like, oh my God, Cayla's awesome. She was Cayla Francis back then, but just her energy and the vibes that she created in that room stuck with everyone for a while. She's someone I can go to with any questions I have about literally anything. And she's great at reading people and kind of reading the room. So if you don't kind of speak up, she's always there to open up and just say, are you okay? Or just kind of, give you advice even though you don't ask for it, but you need it.
As a junior Opal myself, I would have loved to have had a mentor that really took me under their wing and made me less nervous, and really just believed in me so that I would go out on the court and produce probably a better game than what I did when I was a junior Opal. I kind of always would go out and be really anxious and nervous. And wouldn't give the best of myself, which would essentially, not help the team as much as probably what I could have. So in my mind, I wanted to be able to create a really good atmosphere, being a leader in that Opals group now, just to be able to, take, the young girls under my wing and make sure that they never felt that type of anxiety or nervousness in a negative way, that they used that and channeled that and knew that, that I believed in them and that they've got this and they're going to be great. Because essentially, if you've got your young girls feeling good, 1 to 12, you're going to be better as a team. So I really wanted Ezi to be able to enjoy her Opals experience, knowing that she'd have a very long and very successful career. And for me to be a part of that in a really positive way was really important to me.
Cayla's a lot of great strengths, I think, just with basketball. I think she's just a great, leader on the floor. Obviously just being with our captain, but I think that comes naturally to her as well. And then just her, competitiveness on the court, her shooting ability, her posting up ability. I think just the position that she does play, she's just all around hard to guard. So I'm glad she's on my team and I'm not playing against her. And then I guess off the court, just, she's got such a great personality, just so, humble, just so bubbly, just draws everyone to her and kind of she's just, great to be around. And I think that's something that we need in our team, because everyone kind of just feeds off that.
I think Ezi's greatest strengths would be that she's an absolute gazelle and she hasn't even come close to hitting her ceiling yet. I think that when she puts the skates on, that no one probably in the world can guard her, and that's not even like really no one in the world will be able to stop Ezi. And now she's like getting a mean 3-point shot about her too. So like, you know, I've been a couple driving dishes to Ezi on the 3 for some trizzies. Is all right. So I honestly don't know that there's really any limit to what Ezi can achieve. Like, she's just an incredible human as well, and she's really humble, so takes on advice, takes it all in her stride, and is really great to be around. So yeah, on and off the court, I think Ezi just brings an energy that's a really great experience to play with and to know her. Well, I think the beauty of social media these days is that, you know, you can stay in contact with each other, and you know, this year was quite strange in terms of COVID and things like that, so not seeing you for 9 months was really odd. Yeah. So because we had like the last 3 years, Opal season, Boomer season, like back to back. So you know, I spoke with Ezi a few times during her WNBA season, knowing that she was probably, you know, really busy over there, lots of people contacting you, playing really well as well. So just to let you know that I'm thinking of you, doing really well, and you know, so a couple of messages back and forth, but knowing full well we'd get 6 full weeks together coming up.
Yeah, no, I think it's really good. Like Cayla said, like we've been with each other the last 3 years, so to go like, I guess, so long without each other, it was kind of like a bit weird.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it?
But yeah, the power of social media, you know, Cayla was great at checking in, and you know, I was excited to come back and just spend, you know, 6 weeks with us.
So far, it'll be 8 weeks total.
Oh yeah, 8 weeks.
Every day. I think we're both just as competitive, but I think I'm more vocal about it. So Ezi can sometimes be a bit nice, but she's coming out of her shell a bit, you know, she's got a bit of grit about it.
Well, a big thanks to the Boomers for that exclusive as well. And how cool do they look together? What a job Cayla is doing with the young superstar. She is so lucky to have somebody like Cayla mentoring her.
She is. I was quite surprised that Cayla actually said that she didn't have anybody who played that role for her when she was a young Opal. I feel like the national team setup, that's just something that would naturally occur.
Don't forget, people are fighting for jobs as well. So it's not in everyone's nature to want to help the people that are up and coming, because there's sometimes an insecurity that they're going to actually then come in and take their job. And for Cayla especially, they play the same position. So it speaks so highly of her character, of what she's prepared to do to be able to help this young gun get to the next level. And, you know, I'm sure they'll both be there at the Olympics next year.
Well, Cayla and Ezi both feature in my highlights this week. Here they are. We're getting down to the business end of the season. Kicking us off at number 10 is some slick ball movement from the Lynx. Alex Sharp with the no-look pass to Darcy Garvin out wide. At 9, Alison Schwagmeyer-Belger spun her way through the key as the Flames got past Bendigo by 8 points. Next up, Flyers captain Jenna O'Hay put on one of her trademark moves, taking on the Adelaide zone to pick up the and one. At number 7, Townsville's Lauren Nicholson split the Caps defence down the middle. She had a couple of big scoring games in their mixed results this week. At 6, Tess Lavey threads the needle to Mary Golding in transition, one of her 6 dimes on the night. Shout out to the big guards at number 5. Liz Cambage gets the steal and goes end to end for the layup. The Flyers far too strong in that one. At number 4, Melbourne's Cayla George showed off her volleyball skills against Bendigo. This set out to Ezi Magbegor for the 3 helped them to a 32-point win in the end. Next up, Darcy Garvin is cold as ice with the buzzer beater. The game-winning dagger got Perth home by 2 against Adelaide. At number 2, Mariana Tolo hit Nadine Payne with the ankle breaker in the post. Nadine did have the last laugh though, with the Fire getting the W. And finally, Liz Cambage tops the list this week. She had 4 blocks against the Boomers, including this on Opal's teammate Cayla George. Liz finished with a casual 35 points in that one.
Well, Healy's highlights, you've done it again. I know you take about 2 days to be able to put that together. You got nothing else going on in your life. Your man's going to leave you because you're just glued to the TV. But what a job.
Oh, they're good fun putting them together. Always great to see the girls kicking ass, and I love the fact that there was a defensive play that was number 1 this week. They never get enough credit.
Really?
No, I don't think so.
I'd rather see a guard.
They all say that, don't they? All right, let's move on. It's time for a few of my favourite things. Wrapping up a week in social media. Starting off with Aaron Baines, who became a dad for the third time. He and his wife had a new baby.
You love these baby shots, don't you?
I do.
You're going to turn
it's
it into
so
a baby
nice.
shot?
Yeah, baby show, the basketball baby show.
He looks fit.
He does look fit, and so they're in Tampa at the moment because of COVID protocols over there, getting ready for the NBA season. Nick Nurse actually said that Baines has been training really well. He said that he's a better shooter than he expected him to be.
That doesn't surprise me because I think Aaron Baines is going to have a massive year, and his shots just continue to prove every year.
Yeah, no, he's excellent, looking really good for the season ahead. Next one is Utah's Donovan Mitchell, who donated $12 million to his former school. Yeah, really, really great thing. He said it's so nice being able to build a new gym for the students and also provide some of them with scholarships who would never have had the opportunity prior to that as well. Donovan's mum also worked at the school for, I think it was about 10 years as well. So
good stuff, isn't it? Great seeing some of these NBA stars be able to put back and make such a difference to the community, but also the basketball community as well. Definitely.
Moving on, the Southside Flyers. This is one of my favourite shots, and I think this sums up. I think this sums up where they are as a team at the moment. They have some big personalities, and at the start of the season, we weren't sure how they would gel and come together. Looking at this, though,
do you know who hit the three?
I don't actually. No. Do you?
No, but I love the fact that when you look at all of their stars that are on the bench and actually getting into one of the bench players,
it's great.
That's got it.
It's fantastic, and I think that shows, like I said, where they are and why they are performing at the level that they are at this stage of the season.
Good find.
Yeah, I love that. Finally, it's actually Liz again on social media.
It's just a Liz show.
Watching Beck and Monique Conti there do a TikTok. This was the part of the show that I was going to say, hey Shane, do you have your TikTok that you said that you would do last week? Or that I at least challenged you to do last week.
I got no rhythm, I told you that.
What about...
I stick to things that I know.
What about double or nothing? I'll do one if you do one.
Oh no, there's no chance. You don't want to see that. I'm just not good at it.
If you want to see one, let us know and I'll make sure that he does it.
Oh no.
All right. Good. We'll move on. Let's go around the country to our team of courtside correspondents. Renee Garlop is up first.
Hey guys, this week I'm going to wind the clock back with some deja vu duos. In other words, some of today's stars that show flashes of throwback champions. First up, Funda Nagasoglu and Angela Marino. Both great three-point shooters and playmakers. When they sub in, have the opportunity to be an absolute punish for the opposition if they're not picked up quickly. They also have a very similar gait with how they run on their toes, and with their long hair swinging in the air as they zip around the floor, the resemblance is pretty uncanny. Next up, Shyla Heal and Jay Kingy. Both operate with a huge amount of flair, using the pick and roll at an elite level, causing an absolute headache for the defense. They both also love to get up 94 feet and harass the opposition. And to cap it off, both look like they could have been plucked off the beach moments before tip-off. Lastly, Ezi Magbegor and Rachel Spawn, both providing a massive defensive presence while being consistent on offense. Anytime they step on the floor, you could pretty much lock in a double-double, as well as their opponent being nullified. They also go about their business with zero fuss and max efficiency, and pretty much any type of person would love to play with a big like this. These are just a few that came to mind. I'm sure there's plenty more out there. Thanks, guys.
Another great segment from Renee Garlop, and I love the variety. She just comes up with something different every week, and I like the Ezi and Rachel Spawn one. I can see that.
Rachel Spawn, easily, my favourite player growing up, absolutely loved her. All right, let's head to Derek now. He's talking NBA this week.
That's right, guys. The NBA is back in less than 3 weeks, and let's get right into it. The Houston Rockets have been the big newsmakers in the offseason. They're only down to one unhappy superstar now after they sent Westbrook to the Wizards for John Wall. I think the trade suits both teams. Wizards get alpha dog Russell Westbrook, which is something they desperately need. He's got a lot of pop left in his legs. He can still go. You pair him with Bradley Beal, that's a really tough backcourt in the East. Wall gets out of DC. He's been out of the league for 2 years due to injuries, most recently an Achilles rupture, and now he gets to work his way back into NBA condition because Harden hopefully is still going to be with the Rockets, and he'll be the ball dominant guard. And Wall is very underrated off the ball. He shoots a very solid 37% in catch and shoot three situations. So look, it's a good team. It's a good team for Wall to go to, and I think both teams will benefit, and both teams obviously will make the playoffs. That's provided if Houston can keep James Harden. There's a lot of noise that Harden wants out. He's very unhappy. The big talk is Harden for Simmons. Hammer, I know you love that trade. If it goes through, I look forward to breaking it down next week right here on the Basketball Show. Talk to you later, guys.
Well, Derek Rucker talking about the #1 league in the world, the NBA, and I don't want to see Ben Simmons traded. I actually want to see him have a crack under Doc Rivers. I love the fact they've added Steph Curry, Danny Green, and I want to see Ryan Broekhoff there as well, hitting corner threes, because I think he's going to be a different player with different coaching this year. Ben Simmons, I think he's going to have a great year. I hope it doesn't happen.
Just to clarify, I'm pretty sure you meant Steph Curry, right? Unless you're breaking news, unless you're breaking news and dropping Woj bombs on the basketball show.
Steph Curry. That's exactly what I said, Jay. Thank you.
You're very welcome. No, I think a lot of people will want to see this Philly team and see just how far they can go, especially under Doc Rivers. That is all we've got time for this week. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you to TCL Mobile and Chemist Warehouse as well. We'll be back next week.
This is a co-production by News Corp Australia and Closer Sports.